Eagles country, let's fly. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Hope all of you out there are having a fantastic week. Coming your way on today's show, going to take a look at some Derek Barnett replacement options following the news of him tearing the ACL on Sunday against the Lions. Now he's lost for the remainder of the 2022 season. A lot of interesting names certainly to get to on that list. First, though, a reminder about what we're doing on Thursday on Philadelphia Eagles. Now, going to be doing yet another live show. We'll be kicking it off 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. Make sure you subscribe and join us. We'll take a look at all of the latest Eagles news, rumors. Of course, we'll pass along some analysis and the best audience interaction with the best fan base in the National Football League. Lock us in, subscribe to the channel, turn on those noties. Therefore, when we do go live, you'll be notified. And another reminder, going to be doing a watch party, Week 2 Monday Night Football game against the Minnesota Vikings, a great litmus test to see where the Eagles are. So with Derek Barnett, let's first lay the foundation here in case you missed it or you need a refresher. Derek Barnett tore his ACL after only playing 12 snaps against the Detroit Lions on Sunday. And a lot of people are calling for these NFL stadiums to move to domes. I think that's an absolute joke. First of all, playing football outside in the conditions, in the elements, is part of what makes football great, but also these turf fields are an absolute problem. Countless ACL and severe injuries over time because of those turf fields. They don't have the same amount of give as a grass surface. So good job by Jeffrey Lurie for continuing to have that grass surface in South Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial Field after Veterans Stadium caused a lot of injuries over time. But for Barnett, obviously this is a big disappointment for him and this football team. First-round pick back in the 2017 NFL Draft coming out of Tennessee where he broke Reggie White's sack record. A lot of expectations for him. And during that Super Bowl season, he played well, recovered the fumble that was a huge play in Super Bowl 52 against the New England Patriots, and after his 5th year was not exercised, he signed that 2-year extension this past offseason with an out after 2022, so his future in the Midnight Green a little bit uncertain, a little bit in doubt because these injuries continue to pile up for him. And I know a lot of fans out there don't really like Derek Barnett. I think he's a little bit underrated. Nick Sirianni agrees with me. Here's what he had to say in his press conference on Monday. Obviously, it's a big blow for us to lose Derek Barnett. I love the way he comes to work every single day and plays with grittiness and toughness and nasty. I'm a huge Derek Barnett fan, and he'll be missed. That sucks. I hate that for him, and my heart breaks for Derek. And I kind of look at sacks for edge rushers like wins and losses for pitchers. It doesn't tell the full story. There are better indicators out there for a pitcher's success, like ERA, and there are also better indicators out there for edge rushers than just sacks. 21.5 sacks throughout his career since coming into the league in 2017 for Derek Barnett. 76 quarterback hits, so he's really active. I understand that he has committed some really head-scratching penalties that have come at awful times that have cost the Birds. 36 tackles for loss, 147 total tackles in 65 career games. But you can't get fooled by the lack of sacks because this guy does bring a level of toughness to the defense and does strike a little bit of fear in opposing offensive linemen. And I've never been a huge analytical guy. How I look at analytics is if you have access as a business to certain trends, certain numbers, of course, you want to look at those to improve the bottom line and to improve your business. And with analytics in sports, you have to use those to your advantage, but you can't fully just go all in on analytics because if you do that and you play like the Chip Kelly math card, then that can certainly cost you as well. But I thought that this number, pass rush win rate, a new metric from ESPN, was pretty interesting, and it tells the story about Derek Barnett with the pass rush win rate that he had last year. He was 7th in the NFL, behind some of the best edge rushers in the game. Myles Garrett at 28%, Derek Barnett at just 23%. You see another Eagle on there in Josh Sweat. And then last year, Hassan Reddick, who was with the Carolina Panthers under Matt Rule, his Temple coach, is now with the Eagles. And last year, he was right behind Derek Barnett. So that goes to show you that it's not all about sacks. And I don't want to get too nerdy on you, and You don't want to hear me get too nerdy on the program, but it does tell a story about Derek Barnett's success as an edge rusher and what he's been able to do throughout his career. And why it's a loss to not have Barnett. You can never have enough edges. And this is back-to-back years in which the Eagles have lost a premium edge rusher on the roster within the first 2 games of the season. Game 2 last year, it was Brandon Graham who went down. Game 1 this year, it's Derek Barnett. So to wish him a speedy recovery, even if you don't like him, this is a severe injury for him. I want to see him bounce back and start to live up to those expectations of being that first-round pick. And again, I think he's been somewhat underrated over time. I want you to type DB in the comment section right now. As for what we're getting to next on the show, Derek Barnett replacements and the big name Jason Pierre-Paul, the former New York Giant, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer who haunted this franchise for a long time. I still think he has petrol left in the tank. I think he'd be a great option to come to the Birds. We'll talk about him and a few other players. First, though, do you want a free Philadelphia Eagles jersey? That's right, free Philadelphia Eagles jersey. We can get you hooked up, swagged up, and swagged out if you sign up with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Now, a lot of people have been in the comment section saying, I don't think this deal is real. Chat Sports hasn't emailed me back. We've received about 10 emails for people who are going to get new jerseys. We guarantee you we're going to send you a new jersey, but it's going to take a little bit of time for us to respond because so many responses are coming in. As of right now, 10 jerseys on the way. How do you get it? Chatsports.com/EaglesBet. You have to use that link for us to send you this jersey. The promo code Eagles125, very important. But make sure you use that link, chatsports.com/EaglesBet. You sign up, deposit at least $100. With that, you get a 125% deposit back. That's an additional $125, 100 plus 125, 225 to game with. Make a bet of any dollar figure. Then email us that you followed all these steps by heading to jersey@chatsports.com. A lot of current players available here. Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelce, A.J. Brown went off and bonkers in his debut as a Philadelphia Eagle. Devontae Smith, you see multiple sizes available, multiple colors, men, women, kids, jersey@chatsports.com. Email us after you followed all those steps. We'll get you ready, and we'll get you hooked up for the 2022 season. Okay, going back to Derek Barnett here. First-round pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, and now suffers a torn ACL. And after the Isaac Seumalo contract restructure last week, the Eagles now have nearly $11 million in cap space to use at their disposal to improve this roster and maybe find a replacement for Derek Barnett. There are a couple of players who I'm really high on and other guys who I frankly don't care that much about. The 3 best and 3 most notable names who the Eagles could pursue as free agents, and then we'll get to some trade targets as well: Jason Pierre-Paul, Everson Griffin, Takk McKinley. I'm good on Takk McKinley. I'd take a shot on Everson Griffin and Jason Pierre-Paul because they are very, very well accomplished throughout their respective NFL careers. Could JPP work out in Philadelphia? This is something that actually former Eagles tight end Clay Harbor did talk about. 91.5 career sacks. This guy has been awesome. If it wasn't for the fireworks disaster, he might be a 100-sack guy, honestly. And he's not far removed from making it to a Pro Bowl back in 2020 during that Super Bowl year and putting forward some really impressive numbers, 9.5 sacks. But last year, missed a few games due to injury, only played 12 of them, and only had 2.5 sacks. But at 33 years old, I do think that Jason Pierre-Paul could play a little bit, and it's not like he'd be asked to be an every down player. The Eagles' defensive line is good. It's very solid with some of the draft picks and free agent acquisitions that they've made. Of course, we want to see Jonathan Gannon be a little bit more aggressive, but JPP in the mix would help fill the void of losing Derek Barnett and take some of those snaps. How about Everson Griffin? Everson the Eagle here, little wordplay on the channel, 85.5 career sacks, so he too very well accomplished throughout his career. A little bit older than JPP at 34 years old, but did say recently that he still wants to play in the National Football League. Last year only played 6 games, right? But in those 6 games, still had 5 sacks. You can run a little NASCAR package, have him as an edge rusher or slide him inside. I like that versatility, and 10 quarterback hits a year ago. As for Takk McKinley in 2021, with the Cleveland Browns after he decided to go back to the Brownies. 18 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 forced fumble. I'm good on Takk McKinley. For me, you go big or you go home with Jason Pierre-Paul or Everson Griffin. And oftentimes with these veterans, when they get a new leash on life, and they get another opportunity, you see them rejuvenated to a certain degree, even at their age, and they can end up being pretty impactful players. So among my top 2 favorites, who I imagine are your 2 top favorites as well, pick an edge rusher between JPP and Everson Griffin. Get those votes into the comment section right now. As for 2 former Eagles who would be lesser options, Genard Avery, who the Eagles spent a 4th-round pick a couple of years ago on. He is currently with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was with the practice squad, but got elevated to the game day roster on Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. And then Steven Means is also kind of a practice squad fringe player. It wouldn't take much to trade for Avery or Steven Means. Means had a couple of really good preseason showings for a couple of years with the Eagles, but as they built along that defensive line, he was on the outside looking in because they upgraded talent. Another big rumor out there is circulating around Clelin Ferrell, the former top 4 pick for the Las Vegas Raiders, and his career up to this point has been a massive bust. I remember I was in Nashville for the NFL draft back in 2019. Raiders were on the clock at, I believe, pick number 3, and there were so many Raider fans out there. They were so excited for the selection, and it gets announced that it's Clelin Ferrell, and you heard an audible gasp along Broadway because they're like, who is this guy? Yeah, who is this guy? He hasn't done much. Last year, 1.5 sacks, 14 tackles, and here's the deal with Clelin Ferrell and why I'm saying hell no. His 2022 cap hit, $9.9 million. So the Eagles have some money to pay for a player like this, but then it also limits you if you want to make more roster transactions without another contract restructure. So with that, I do ask you this. Talked about several players here on the show. Your favorite Derek Barnett replacement is who? I'm going JPP. You let me know in the comment section. And if you made it this far, I want you to show us some love because we want to show you love for being a loyal subscriber and viewer. Type Real One in the chat. You saw me rocking the Real One shirts on the show yesterday, and this has been a movement at Chat Sports over the last several months. Everybody who subscribes to all of our channels, Real Ones. EAGLES Eagles. Appreciate all of you for tuning into the show. Hope you join us on Thursday for our live show. But of course, we're pushing out videos pretty much every single day, so stay tuned for all of that.